Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and today we're going to check on my progress on my yearly goals. With some of the changes with work that I've had this year, I really want to make sure that I am using the time that I have, because I have less free time now, to do the things that I want to do. And so I want to use this space as a way for me to check on my progress, to make sure that I am achieving the goals that I want to achieve. Obviously, this is a hobby. I love reading and I want it to be fun, and so I'm not going to be mad at myself if I don't meet my goals, but I think this is just a little bit of a checkpoint for me to maybe adjust some things in future months if I don't see some trends that I would like to see. I'm going to start with giving you guys some overall stats for the year, and I realize that we are not all the way through quarter one, but I am just going to make this my cutoff point for now. Currently, I have read 42 books in 2025, which is absolutely insane. Normally, at this point in the year, I would probably be around 30, maybe a little above. I do have to thank Get a Clue Readathon for the number of books that I've read so far, because it really did push me in the month of February. However, you will see in some of the stats that I give you that I was reading smaller books. And so even though I have read more books than I typically would have, they definitely have been smaller than my chunky fantasy reads, which is okay. I'm not mad about it, but I do think that I have some changes that I would like to make in the coming months with some of the books that I'm going to choose for my TBRs. On top of the 42, I also have 11 books that I DNF'd this year, and I'm not going to talk about them here. I think I might do a separate video where I talk about like my most disappointing reads so far, and talk about my DNFs and my lowest rated books thus far, and just talk about maybe the audiences that they do have, because I do think that I've read some books that absolutely could have an audience that would love them. They just weren't meant for me. Others, I don't know that I would recommend to anyone, but I still think it might be fun to talk about them. So that might be in a video later to come. Let me know if you would be interested in that. I have had 4 5 stars. 2 of those were from January and 2 were from February. So none from March so far, and we're getting close to the end. We got about 10 days left in the month. So I'm looking for hope. I am reading one right now that I'm almost positive will be a 5-star, but I'm not going to include that one in this list. My average rating right now is a 3.958, which is high. Normally my ratings are around 3.8 or 3.7, and so for it to be a 3.9, I definitely have enjoyed a lot of the shorter books that I've been reading. And then speaking of shorter books, the average page number of my books this year is 291.76. So that's quite a bit smaller than my typical book size. I did make a goal this year, which I'll talk about in a little bit, of keeping my average around 400, and that's where some of my progress needs to be made in the rest of the year. Not that I'm super upset by the fact that it's lower, and I know that it's lower because I was reading manga and I was reading novellas for that Get a Clue Readathon, and so it's just showing what my reading has been like so far this year. Now on to the goals. And I have done really well with some goals, and I am struggling with others. So first and foremost, my main goal is to reach 100 books by the end of the year. This is just a nice round number for me. I really don't care about the number, and with reading 42 books in almost the first quarter, I think I'll be fine. So I'm not really concerned with this goal. The next one is that I wanted my average page count to be 400. So I do have some plans in the coming months to pick up some chunkier books. I would like to do another episode of Chunky Check-ins. It has been a minute, friends, and I would like to rant and rave about the chunky reads that I have read, but I have to read them first. Some of them that I have on my list are Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. He's on my 25 and 2025, which I'll talk about in a minute. He's an author that I want to get to. And Best Served Cold is pretty chunky. It's just right over 500 pages. Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb is another one on that 25 and 2025, and it's chunky. Weave World is another one on that list. I also recently, I haven't even put this in a book haul yet. You guys are getting a sneak peek, but I purchased Cage of Souls by Adrian Tchaikovsky, because I have enjoyed some of his books recently. And this is 601 pages, and I just am very curious about it. So this is another chunky read that I have on my list. And then I also want to read, I don't know if you can see them, these 3 books here by Jen Williams. This is the Winnowing Flame series. I'm going to reread The Ninth Rain with Kirsten, and I can't remember if we decided we were going to read the whole series together, or if I think we did. I think we said we were going to read the whole series together. We're starting Ninth Rain come June, I think. June or July. But that whole series is chunky. So I've got some chunky reads on my list, on my radar. I also need to pick up the next book in the Faithful and the Fallen series, Ruin. So they're out there, friends. I just need to get to them. So those are some plans that I have with that. The next reading goal that I had this year was to continue as many series as I start. So I want to make sure that it's a one-to-one trade-off. So if I'm picking up a new series, I need to be picking up a book in a series that I'm currently in the middle of. And I think I've done well so far. I have started 8 new series, and I have continued 9. I was shocked by this. And I have to thank Rainy Blue Reads at Get a Clue for this statistic, because in Get a Clue Readathon, I started the Wayward Children series. I really enjoyed it. So that was a start of a series. And then I read the first 5 books. I think it was the first 5 books. And so 4 of those books counted as continuations. And I'm not saying, and that's not cheating. I continued a series. It counts. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with that. Now, the next one, I'm not super, I feel like I could have made a little bit more progress. I wanted to kind of push myself to finish series as well, but I didn't want to do a goal that was really, really strict. And so I just said, I want to finish 10 series in the year. And I finished 2. Now, the reason I say I don't think I'm doing super hot, because at this point I would like to be at 3 or 4 series finished. But even before I get to that point, the 2 series that I finished are the Fireborn Blade series. So this is a new series that I picked up this year, which I have dearly loved. Both of these got a 4.5 from me. They're excellent. And then I also finished the Black Tongue Thief series, which I think it's finished. That one might be a little cheaty because it's the Black Tongue Thief and then the Daughter's War is a prequel, but I'm not sure if Christopher Buehlman is going to come back to that series at any point in time. So it's finished for now. And the reason I am a little disappointed with just those 2 series being finished is I have so many series that I've been reading for longer than both of those, especially longer than this series because it's brand new, that I probably should have focused on first. But, you know, the year is young. We will get there. So some series that I need to complete. Murderbot. I have 1 more book, guys. 1 more book and I will be done with Murderbot. And I'm so excited. I should have finished it in Get a Clue, but I didn't get to it. I got to one of the Murderbots in Get a Clue, but not all of them. Tome of Dragons will complete the Cemeteries of Amelot, which is the novella series that came after The Goblin Emperor. I'm pretty sure it's the end of that little series. And so that one's exciting. It doesn't come out until April though. So I'm having to wait for that one, I think. Maybe it's already out. I need to go check. But anyway, I'm excited about that one. Emily Wilde's, I am currently reading right now. And so this will end out my journey with Emily Wilde, since I'm almost positive that this is the end of the series. And so that will be another series completed. And then I also have 1 book left in the Wild Robot series. So there are lots of series that I am really, really close to the end. I also have some chunkier series that I need to get into. Like I said, the Faithful and the Fallen series, I need to get back to. I have the Rhaenyra Chronicles, which isn't super chunky, but I'm pretty close to the end in that one. City of Miracles is the last book in the City of Blades series. I also have, it just slipped my mind. What book was I thinking about? Oh, Codex Alera. I have 2 books left in that series. And so there are lots of books lots of series that I've been reading forever that I'm really close to. And I'm excited to see like how many series can I finish this year. I think it's going to be an exciting like end of year, you know, surprise video. I might not do like a mid-year. Oh, I don't know. I like doing a mid-year check-in. I don't know. I think it would be fun just to not pay attention to it for the entire year and then see where I'm at, but I'm not one of those people. I'm a checklist person. I like to be able to mark it off as I go, so that probably won't happen, but it would be fun. My next goal, and this one I'm not doing too great on either, was to have less than 20 books on my physical TBR. So I started this year at 22, and I am now at 24. I have read some. I've read 3 books from my physical TBR. I read Frankenstein, and then I read 2 of the Freyrin volumes, and I have 5 of the Freyrin volumes, but I've purchased some books. And some of them you know about. I've done a book haul, and some of them you don't know about because I haven't done it yet. But yeah, so I need to work on my physical TBR a little bit. I'm thinking that that might be one of my themed monthly vlogs that I do at some point in time, is going to be one that I just focus on my physical TBR and read for a month and pick up a couple or 3 books from my physical TBR, and hopefully I love them. My next goal was to do an analytical video for you guys once every 2 months. And I have done that so far. I posted one in February. That was my deep dive of Frankenstein. I had never read it before, and I read the 1818 edition and just gave my thoughts, gave an overview, talked about the themes in the book. I actually really enjoyed that video. It was a lot of, I don't want to say stress, but it was the first video I'd ever done like that. And it's definitely, you know, it's a classic, so people have their opinions, and I was a little worried at the, it's not like I'm not a scholar by any means in classical literature. I'm not trained. So it really was just my thoughts and things that I had caught. And the book honestly helped me quite a bit because there was an introduction where the author did an excellent job of talking about Mary Shelley's history. And so I was able to tie some of those things back in with the storyline, but I had such a fun time with it. And so I am really glad that I decided to do that video, and I would like to do another one. And if you guys are interested in that type of content, you should hop over to my community tab after this video, because I'm going to have a little poll for you guys to see what video you would like to see next in that genre. So an analytical deep dive of some books. I'll have some options for you guys, and you can select the one that you think is most interesting. I also wanted to do themed monthly vlogs, which I haven't done one for February. I did one in January for my new releases. February I took a break because of Get a Clue. I was gonna do a Get a Clue vlog. Instead I just ended up doing a Get a Clue wrap up because I couldn't keep up during the readathon. It was go, go, go all of the time. So I might end up doing every other month, or if I come up with ideas that I'm really excited about, I might do monthly. We'll see where it goes from here. I have one planned for March for you guys that will come out on Tuesday, but I'm gonna keep it a secret. My last goal was to do sprints every other week, and that was supposed to start at the beginning of February. It ended up starting mid-February, which is fine. And I've enjoyed being back on sprints with you guys. So if you are interested in sprints, I will be sprinting tomorrow on Sunday. I will start at 9 a.m. Central, and we go until about 1 p.m. Central. So come join me if you guys want some chill sprints where we are productive, we get stuff done. The last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is my 25 and 2025. And I always keep track of this. It's not something that I ever just spew out into the universe and then don't ever look at it again. I try and keep a checklist. I don't know if you guys can even see this, but I have a checklist inside my bullet journal of the books that I would like to read and their ratings, and I've done okay so far. So out of my 25 books that I would like to read, I have read 7.5 because some of my goals included multiple books. One of the goals in my 25 and 2025 was to finish Murderbot, which had 2 books, and I've read one of them, so that's where the half comes in. But the 7 books that I have read are I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons, which I rated a 2.5 star. Between Two Fires, I also rated a 2.5 star. These are my fantasy standalones because that was in my 25 and 2025. I had themes for each 5 books. I also added a standalone because one of the standalones I had given you guys was actually a series, and so I wanted to replace it with a fantasy standalone, Blood Over Brighthaven, which I'm not going to tell you the rating. Hopefully you couldn't see it whenever I showed you guys, if you want to zoom in and see if you can see it, but you'll have to watch some of my future videos to figure out what my rating of that book is. I have also read Fireborn Blade, which I just talked about as far as series go. The series that I finished this year, that was a 4.5. The Ancients, which I was really bummed about, I ended up DNFing, but I think that's one of the books that I do think there's an audience for it, and I really did like the way that it was written. There were just certain things that I wasn't enjoying, and so I did DNF it at 70%. But I think that some people could love it. I also have a category in here for authors that I want to continue with, and Nat Cassidy and Adrian Tchaikovsky were both on there. Nat Cassidy, I read Rest Stop, which was a 2.5 for me, and then, which I was really bummed by because I've given Nat Cassidy only 5 stars, and so now he has a 2.5 on his record for me, which, yeah, it just didn't work for me. And then Adrian Tchaikovsky, I read Alien Clay this month, which was a 4.25. It was very fun, and that's obviously why I have continued looking into his works, because I've enjoyed them so far. So hopefully he doesn't have a catastrophe like Nat Cassidy did, in my opinion, with Rest Stop. I really didn't like it. But so I think I'm doing relatively well with my 25 and 2025. I do think that I have kind of left some of the books that I think are going to be, I just need to make sure that I get to them. I need to put like a pen in my brain about like these books. I need to put these on TBRs so I don't forget about them. Not that I'm not excited to read them. I am. I think that they're going to be great, but they are the books that I tend to forget about. There are a couple that I have pre-ordered. Drop of Corruption comes out next month. The book that held her heart comes out next month, and so those I haven't even had a chance to read. At the Bottom of the Garden, I'm also reading with Julie next month, so I have a lot of these on my TBRs. I think I'm doing good with my 25 and 2025. I need to stay on top of it. So overall, I am happy with where my reading is so far. I do want to switch my focus a little bit to focus more on those chunky reads, just because I have been so focused on smaller reads, but I also don't want to lose those stories either. I think I need to make the chunkier books more of my focus, and then maybe have a couple, like a couple novellas sprinkled into my TBR each month. So that is my check-in for you guys for my goals. Let me know in the comments down below if you have a reading goal that you've already accomplished this year. If you have one that you are really excited about your progress on, I would love to chat with you guys in the comments. If you're not feeling chatty today, leave me one of those little checkmark emojis in the comments so I know that you guys are here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!